Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Transversus Abdominis muscle. This muscle is a major stabiliser for our lumbar spine, our low back region. It gets switched off if we've had any injuries to our low back, or we've had strains, or indeed we've got any pathology like disc bulges, that kind of thing, or have had them previously. Also abdominal surgery is another one where this muscle gets switched off, so ladies have had C-sections, that kind of thing as well. So we need to wake this muscle up so it's looking after your low back so you can function better. I'm going to do two videos today. The first video is very much about identifying how to contract that muscle and how to make sure you're waking it up and start to challenge it and start to strengthen it. The second video is for people that have already done Pilates or have done a degree of low back strengthening and are just needing to challenge their core stability that little bit more. So if you're starting from the beginning, it's going to be months before you're doing the stuff in video 2. So don't try and push yourself too quickly to achieve that, because there's no point stressing your low back or flaring up your low back pain. If you need any further guidance, of course, just call me, email me, and we'll give you more specific stuff, or I'll help to guide you more specifically. So our transversus abdominis attaches into the whole of our lumbar spine, up into the diaphragm, down, attaching into the roof of the pelvic floor muscle region, and wraps in transverse fibres, so it is your internal corset muscle. So it's the one that we can feel when we are kind of just drawing our belly button back towards our spine, sucking in, increasing that tone. That's the transversus abdominis that's doing it. We're going to exercise from this position we call the crook lie position. Depending on your head and neck posture, you might be more comfortable with a cushion or a pillow underneath your head, so please do feel comfortable in this start-up position. Feet relatively close towards your bottom, your feet and knees, thighs all in parallel and about hip width apart. First of all, in this position, think about the contact pressure of your back, your spine and your pelvis against the floor. You should feel there's slightly less pressure underneath the lumbar region, and that you could pretty much get your fingertips underneath there. So you've got your natural little low lumbar lordotic curve, and you're going to try and keep that posture throughout the exercise. That's really important. Another thing we can do to check we're exercising correctly is making sure that our pelvis stays in one place. And so often with this exercise, I get people to place their fingertips on those prominent pelvic bones at the front there. And you can keep your fingertips on there because you're wanting to make sure there's no movement, no rocking side to side of the pelvis during the exercises we're going to do. So to begin with, when you're first waking this muscle up, I want you to think about drawing your belly button, sucking your belly button backwards towards your spine. For some, it might also help to think about kind of bracing through the pelvic floor region at the same time. So you're just wanting a degree of tone. If you run your fingertips just over those pelvic bones onto the squidgy muscles there, when you do that draw in, you should feel the muscles firm underneath your fingers. And to begin with, you can just practice holding that muscle tone and tension whilst trying to still breathe, and for me, talk normally. And so to begin with, you're not doing any movement, you're just practicing holding, trying to maintain that hold and still breathing. Your next step on from there is we're going to introduce some movement to challenge the muscle strength. And so we're going to engage that muscle, drawing in, sucking down with our belly button, and we're going to lift the heel up, draw the toes towards you, and if you can, you lift the foot off and then gently place back down the whole time, controlling. So I'll do on this side, so you're going up onto tippy toes, making sure you're engaged, there's no movement through the pelvis, and then you're just trying to levitate those toes off and place them back down until all the weight of the leg is back down. To begin with, alternate left and right and relax yourself in between each repetition, because you will fatigue quickly, so you can't maintain a contraction and lift a number of times each side. So that's your level 1 for challenging that tummy muscle. Where you're going to progress to is to actually be holding for a longer amount of time, and you can float your leg up into what the Pilates teachers will call a tabletop position. Relax off, draw that belly button in again, make sure there's absolutely no movement, you're stabilising, and float the other leg up into tabletop. Really control as it goes down, because that's often the bit you'll lose the control on. Then you can relax off. And you're going to repeat those repetitions, alternating left and right. If you need to, give yourself a rest in between each. And that's going to be your kind of earlier stages of exercise you're aiming to get to over your first few weeks. Okay.